white women always get the chance to tell their stories. You ever notice that? Like,
I think I have mentioned a few times in the past how much I absolutely loathe the principal that was at my children's school in the past couple of years of making videos. And I say loathed past tense because this year we finally got a new principal. And I actually know who this principal is, and I'm totally cool with it. Story time, essentially. A few years ago, I was dealing with multiple traumatic situations, kind of like what I'm currently dealing with. And the teachers of my son at the time, my youngest was still not in school, was well aware of a few of the details and that at any given point, I may just need a breather. And so because my son is advanced, I planned with the teacher to get some extra workbooks in case he needed to miss some days of school because I needed a breather. At the same time that the crisis was kind of happening in my personal life, I unexpectedly became pregnant. Yes, took all the necessary precautions. Please stay out of my comment section. And it was my second ectopic pregnancy, and I think it was something like my 12th pregnancy loss at this point. So I just found out that it's an ectopic pregnancy. I'm currently dealing with it, while simultaneously there is an escalation that is pretty severe in my personal situation. And in that state and in that moment, I called the teacher. I let them know, hey, it's that moment. I'm going to come and pick up my son. And I went to the school. The teacher was fully aware of what was going on. The other teacher, another teacher, was fully aware of what was going on because it's a consolidated school and my son was advanced. He was kind of drifting between a couple of grades. The counselor was aware of what was going on. But because I showed up to the school fully in tears to pick up my own son, the principal took it upon themselves to call the police. They didn't notify the guidance counselor to get any information. They did not reach out to the teachers to get any information as to what was going on. It was simply the image of a North African femme showing up at the school to pick up her son, fully engulfed in tears, that made her feel entitled to call the RCMP on a racialized femme for picking up my son while crying. And I want to highlight the importance of how sensitive this situation was. Because not a single appropriate procedure was taken by the school, nor by the RCMP. RCMP violated several safety protocols, even in their proceeding, even in what they were doing. Because a North African femme, whose middle name is Muhammad, because I never know which one it is, was engulfed in tears when I picked up my son for an emergency situation that was pre-planned for with the teachers. It's not necessarily related to the topic of the video I'm stitching, or maybe it's related to specifically that point. Definitely go back and watch. But that sentence was said and it immediately jolted me. So I want you all to think about that. I had to navigate a hostile personal situation, a touchy personal situation, a volatile personal situation, while actively having to terminate a pregnancy that I cared about for the second time, and it being like my 12th loss in a row in 3 years. And I had notified the teachers and the counselor of everything that was going on. I followed every single procedure and protocol. But the principal who knew nothing didn't like the tears on my face and decided I was unfit enough to call the RCMP. Anyway, fuck her, she's gone, unfortunately to a promotion that she does not deserve, nor is she competent to receive. I'm not the only one who experienced terrible experience with this principal. There were a lot of ableist behavior and discriminatory behavior from this principal. I digress. Unionized jobs simply move problematic people around rather than actually take care of the situation. But I just want you all to think about that. And being a North African redhead, I'm much less melanated than many of my other counterparts. Yeah, let's sit in that discomfort.